chosen one. You are not hearing this by chance, and you did not arrive at this moment by accident. Before you pressed play, heaven already marked this second as a divine appointment, perfectly timed and intentionally orchestrated for you. Something in your spirit recognized the call before your mind could explain it, because this message is not casual. It is consecrated, and it is calling you forward. Anointed one, you are standing at the edge of a supernatural breakthrough. This is not a slow season or a delayed promise. This is a moment of sudden elevation, divine wealth transfer, and heaven-sent transformation. What has been forming in the unseen is now pressing into the visible, and the Spirit of God is awakening your faith to receive what has already been prepared. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision is for an appointed time, and it will surely come. Chosen one. God placed the dream of greatness inside you on purpose. He gives the power to get wealth, and that power is already alive within you, waiting for alignment, obedience, and belief. This is not about chasing money. This is about stepping into divine purpose, stewarding influence, and carrying resources that shape generations. Anointed one, open your spirit and lean in. Heaven is speaking, and what follows is not information. It is activation. Chosen one, as you lean into this moment, I need you to breathe with intention, slow, steady, aware, because what is about to be spoken is not merely information. It is impartation. It is the unfolding of a divine truth that heaven has been trying to get your attention about for years. You have felt it in quiet moments, in sudden stirrings, in those late-night whispers that told you there was more to your life than what you were currently living. And now finally, heaven has orchestrated this moment so you could hear it spoken with clarity. You are not chasing wealth. You are becoming the kind of person heaven can entrust with it. This distinction is everything. Anointed one, wealth is not running from you. It is waiting for you to rise into alignment. There is a version of you more disciplined, more courageous, more spiritually mature, more anchored in vision that heaven is calling forth right now. Wealth is attracted to identity, not desperation. It comes to the chosen one who understands that God has already said yes in the Spirit, and now you must live like someone who carries divine approval. I know what it feels like to look at your life and wonder why the promise seems so far away. I've walked through seasons where I knew God had spoken increase over me, yet everything around me looked like contradiction. I've worked hard, prayed hard, believed hard, and still faced moments where my faith felt heavier than my bank account. But that's exactly where transformation begins. God trains you in the shadows long before He reveals you in the light. And chosen one, He is training you now not to chase wealth but to host it. When you look at the story of Abraham, it wasn't just a man receiving blessings. It was a man being shaped into someone who could steward influence, land, legacy, and generations. Abraham didn't become great because of what he held. He became great because of who he allowed God to make him into. The covenant elevated him into purpose, and purpose unlocked prosperity. And you, chosen one, are walking that same pattern whether you realize it or not. Heaven is not preparing money for you. Heaven is preparing you for money because wealth without transformation becomes a burden instead of a blessing. God's desire is not that you simply have abundance, but that you reflect His nature through it. Wisdom, generosity, authority, stewardship, compassion, and vision. That is why He is pulling you out of small thinking. That is why you cannot tolerate environments that drain your spirit anymore. That is why certain people have fallen away, why old habits no longer feel comfortable, and why your discernment has increased. God is elevating you internally before He elevates you externally. Anointed One. Wealth is not wicked. Wealth is a mirror. In the hands of the righteous it multiplies good breaks, cycles, frees families, funds vision, and alters destinies. But in the wrong hands it becomes a tool of destruction. This is why God tests His chosen ones with the small things first. He watches how you manage what seems insignificant so He can judge how you will manage what is monumental. And I know those small things can feel frustrating, paying bills with faith, giving when you feel empty, showing up when no one sees you making sacrifices, no one thanks you for staying disciplined when everything in you wants to drift. But those moments are not punishment, they are preparation. Every decision you make, every temptation you resist, every act of obedience, every seed you sow, every time you choose faith over fear, you are expanding your spiritual capacity to handle more. Wealth requires weight, and heaven is adding strength to your shoulders. I've experienced this firsthand times when I wanted increase, but wasn't yet the version of myself that could sustain it. I had to learn integrity the hard way. I had to learn discipline when no one was applauding. I had to tame my impulses, guard my heart, and develop vision beyond my present reality. Those seasons forged something in me that success alone never could. And chosen one, that same fire is refining you. You're not being delayed. You're being developed. You're not being overlooked. You're being prepared. Heaven does not release wealth to someone who is not ready to carry its influence. You are destined to transform lives, shift atmospheres, and fund solutions. But before you build externally, God builds internally. That is why you feel the stretch. That is why the calling feels bigger than you. That is why your spirit refuses to settle for average. You were never meant to fit into the world you came from. You were meant to rise, to disrupt, to rebuild, to elevate. And wealth is part of that assignment, not as an idol, but as an instrument. Chosen one. Your life is moving into alignment. Heaven is shaping you into someone who doesn't just receive blessing, but becomes a blessing. And this is only the beginning. Chosen one. As you continue listening, feel the atmosphere around you shift, because what is being spoken is not entering your ears alone. It is entering your spirit. This is not just teaching, this is activation. This is the gentle but undeniable pull of heaven guiding you into a higher version of yourself, the version that wealth was designed to locate. You have been asking God for increase, but heaven has been asking you for expansion. Not expansion of possessions, but expansion of capacity to think differently, to move differently, to believe differently, to operate from a place of spiritual authority rather than emotional survival. Anointed one. Wealth flows toward identity, not effort alone. It responds to the blueprint of who you are becoming, not simply what you are doing. This is why God often disrupts your comfort before He releases provision. Because comfort creates stagnation, but calling creates motion. I know this personally. There were seasons where I pleaded with God to change my circumstances, yet He insisted on changing me first. It frustrated me, humbled me, and sometimes even angered me. But every shift inside me later became the reason I could handle the blessings I had once prayed for. Looking back, I understand now that if God had answered my prayers when I first prayed them, the blessing would have crushed me. I was not yet disciplined enough, not secure enough, not anchored enough to handle what I thought I was ready for. And chosen one. The very same truth may be unfolding in your life right now. You've been praying for millions, but heaven has been shaping the mindset of someone who can steward millions. You've been praying for opportunities, but heaven has been preparing you so you don't sabotage those opportunities once they arrive. You've been praying for divine connections, but heaven has been building emotional maturity within you so you can sustain relationships that operate at a higher level of influence. God's delays are not denials. They are divine timings designed to protect your destiny. And wealth, true wealth, kingdom wealth, comes in waves of timing, not moments of luck. This is why Abraham's blessing wasn't random. It came through covenant, through alignment, through readiness. And that covenant model has not changed. You are not waiting on money. Money is waiting on your alignment. You are not waiting on favor. Favor is waiting on your obedience. You are not waiting on opportunity. Opportunity is waiting on the version of you that was bold enough to believe God's promise over your circumstances. Chosen one. Everything God does with wealth operates through purpose. That's why He will not send abundance into hands that lack direction. Wealth demands clarity. It demands vision. It demands conviction. A person with no vision wastes money. A person with small vision mismanages money, but a person with God-given vision multiplies money. You are being shaped into a multiplier, not a maintainer. And that shaping often comes through seasons that feel opposite of the promise. You may be in a season where you feel stretched financially, emotionally, or spiritually, but stretch is not punishment. Stretch is preparation. The gym of destiny does not increase your muscles without resistance. Heaven builds your spiritual strength the same way, through resistance, through pressure, through moments where you must choose trust over fear, purpose over comfort, obedience over convenience. I remember a time in my life when God asked me to give in, a season when I barely had anything to give. It made no sense. It felt irresponsible. It felt unfair. But that act of obedience unlocked a realm of favor I had never experienced before. It wasn't the money that mattered. It was the fact that heaven could see my heart was no longer attached to scarcity. I learned that giving breaks the back of fear. It dismantles the belief that you must cling to what you have to survive. It opens the floodgates of trust, and trust is the currency of heaven. Anointed one, your obedience is not small. Your discipline is not unnoticed. Your sacrifices have not been ignored. Heaven records every act of faith, every refusal to quit, every day you chose purpose over excuses, every time you sowed when you needed harvest. And now heaven is aligning your steps for a level of increase that matches your maturity. The shift is not coming, it has already begun. The way you think is expanding. The way you perceive possibilities is changing. The way you respond to challenges is evolving. This is the evidence that the promise is near. When heaven is preparing you for abundance, it first transforms your inner world so your outer world can hold what is coming. You are becoming a person who does not chase money because money is being trained to chase you. You are stepping into the flow of supernatural alignment, the realm where divine timing, disciplined action, and heaven-backed purpose create unstoppable momentum. Chosen one, remain steady, stay faithful, keep listening. The next layer is unfolding. Chosen one, lean in a little deeper, because as you cross into this next layer of revelation, something in your spirit will begin to rise, an inner knowing, an ancient recognition that this word is not new to you. It has been echoing in the chambers of your soul long before today. You have always sensed that you were marked for something greater, something uncommon, something that didn't match the environment you were born into. And that sensation, that quiet inner pull, is heaven's fingerprint on your destiny. You were never meant to blend in. You were never meant to live within the limits others accepted as normal. You were crafted for elevation, for responsibility, for influence, for kingdom impact. And wealth, true, divine, purposeful wealth, is a part of that calling. But before wealth flows to a person, heaven shapes the person who will steward it. And this shaping is not random. It is intentional, precise, and deeply personal. Anointed one, you have walked through things that others would have collapsed under. You have carried pressures silently while still showing up for your responsibilities. You have endured nights when your heart was heavy, yet you still spoke hope to others. You have seen doors close that you prayed would stay open, and you have survived betrayals that cut deeper than words could express. You didn't know it then, but these experiences were not punishments. They were promotions in disguise. Heaven was strengthening the chambers of your heart, deepening your character, sharpening your spirit, and preparing you for the weight of influence you were born to carry. Wealth without inner strength becomes corruption. Wealth without emotional stability becomes chaos. Wealth without spiritual anchoring becomes idolatry. And because God has chosen you for a level of influence that carries generational impact, He has been ensuring that your foundation is solid enough to hold what is coming. I remember a season in my own life when everything felt contradictory. I could feel a calling to abundance rising inside me, yet everything around me reflected lack, limitation, and delay. I questioned myself. I questioned God. I questioned whether I had misheard the promise. But over time it became clear that the promise was not the issue, my preparation was. I wasn't ready to handle what I had been praying for. I wanted increase, but increase requires infrastructure. I wanted overflow, but overflow requires order. I wanted elevation, but elevation requires endurance. When I finally surrendered to the process instead of fighting it, everything changed. I saw that heaven was not withholding, heaven was constructing, and chosen one heaven has been constructing you too. Every pressure you faced built spiritual muscle. Every disappointment taught discernment. Every setback built resilience. Every betrayal taught you the value of purity. Every closed door redirected you toward the path you were meant to walk. You are not weak, you are fortified. You are not behind, you are prepared. You are not forgotten, you are hidden until the appointed time. And that time is drawing near. Wealth is not coming to you because you desire it. It is coming because you have been shaped to carry it without losing yourself. This is the distinction that separates the chosen from the common. This is what differentiates divine wealth from worldly riches. Divine wealth flows to those whose hearts have been tested, whose motives have been purified, and whose spirits have been aligned with heaven's agenda. Chosen one. You must understand that wealth is not just about personal comfort. It is about kingdom purpose. It is about building what God places in your spirit, funding the visions that heaven downloads into your mind, and breaking generational limitations that have held your family captive for decades. You were not called to simply escape poverty. You were called to end it in your lineage. You were not called to merely succeed. You were called to shift environments and open doors for others. You were called to be the interruption to the cycles of fear, lack, and limitation that have followed your bloodline. That is why your battle was harder. That is why your fight felt deeper. That is why you have been stretched in ways others will never understand. Heaven invests heavily in those chosen to carry heavy assignments. Anointed one. This journey is not just about acquiring money. It is about becoming a conduit for transformation. God is raising you to be someone who can break chains through generosity, change atmospheres through influence, and restore hope through obedience. Wealth will amplify whatever is already inside you. And because heaven has purified your heart, wealth in your hands will become a weapon of healing, a tool of restoration, a force of change. This is why the enemy fought you so intensely, not because of where you were, but because of where you were destined to go. The enemy saw your potential long before you did. He saw the light in you before you recognized it. He saw the influence you would carry, the doors you would open, the lives you would touch. And he tried to break you before you could become who you were destined to be. But he failed. You're still here. You're still rising. You're still believing. You're still carrying the promise inside you. And heaven is now aligning your steps with divine precision. The wealth you have been sensing, the shift, the acceleration, the elevation, it is not imagination. It is confirmation. Something is drawing near, something designed specifically for you. Chosen one, stay open, stay expectant. Heaven is moving. Chosen one. As we enter this next movement of the journey, let your spirit settle into the truth that God has been preparing you for decades, not days. There are things you walked through that didn't make sense at the time, seasons where you felt stripped, overlooked, under-resourced, or pushed into uncomfortable growth, but each of those moments carried divine intention. Heaven was shaping your inner architecture, strengthening the structure of your soul so that when abundance arrives, it will not collapse you, but crown you. Many people desire wealth, but few are willing to endure the refining process that ensures they can sustain it without losing themselves. Yet you, anointed one, have weathered storms that would have broken others, and because of that, you are entering a realm of supernatural readiness. I have seen in my own life how God hides his greatest warriors in plain sight. There were times when I felt invisible, doing the right things, making sacrifices, walking in integrity, but receiving no applause, no support, no outward reward. I used to wonder why God would place such enormous dreams inside someone and then allow them to walk through such humble, difficult seasons. But now I understand God hides greatness until greatness is grounded. If he revealed you too early, the weight of attention would have crushed roots that were not yet deep enough to anchor you. And you, chosen one, have been in a season of rooting, deep, painful, necessary rooting. This is why isolation found you. This is why certain people drifted away. This is why opportunities fell through. God was not reducing you, he was refining you. Anointed one. There is something sacred about the quiet seasons where heaven feels silent. Those seasons are deceptive because they appear empty, but spiritually they are saturated with divine construction. God does not build destiny loudly. He builds it in the hidden chambers of your heart. The world sees fruit, but heaven sees roots. And your roots are deep, strong, unshakable. You have learned to cling to God when nothing made sense. You have learned to move forward even when fear tried to paralyze you. You have learned to trust the voice of the Spirit even when logic screamed otherwise. You have learned to let go of things you once thought you could not live without. These lessons were not losses. They were investments into the version of you that wealth can partner with. Chosen. One, understand this with reverence. Wealth requires emotional stability. Wealth demands spiritual intelligence. Wealth requires the ability to make decisions with clarity and conviction. That is why God has allowed you to stand in situations that tested your patience, sharpened your discernment, and expanded your capacity to endure pressure. You were being trained to stay calm when chaos rises, to see solutions when others only see problems, and to carry authority when others crumble under the weight of responsibility. Heaven has been molding you into someone who can walk into boardrooms, negotiations, partnerships, and large-scale projects with the maturity and strength required to shift reality. There is a misconception that wealth merely magnifies what a person has. In truth, wealth magnifies who a person is. This is why heaven doesn't rush the process. When wealth finds someone with unresolved wounds, it deepens their brokenness. When wealth finds someone who lacks discipline, it amplifies their instability. But when wealth finds a chosen one refined by fire, tested by adversity, and anchored in God's purpose, it becomes a force of liberation and transformation. You are being shaped into someone who will not just hold money, but command it. You will not just receive wealth, but distribute it strategically. You will not just benefit from abundance, but multiply it for the sake of purpose. I remember moments in my life where I asked God why He allowed certain setbacks, disappointments, or relational fractures. I felt emptied, discouraged, and sometimes even betrayed by people I loved. But over time, I saw what God was doing. He was removing the voices that could not go with me into my next season. He was stripping away attachments that would have sabotaged my assignment. He was protecting the purity of the vision He had placed within me. And chosen one, He has done the same for you. The people who left were never meant to stay. The opportunities that collapsed were never meant to elevate you. The doors that closed were never meant to usher you into destiny. God protected you even when you thought He abandoned you. Anointed. One, hear this in your spirit. You are now stepping into alignment with heaven's timing. The person you are becoming is the person wealth was created to serve. The discipline you have learned, the resilience you have built, the faith you have cultivated, these are the spiritual credentials that qualify you for divine abundance. You're no longer chasing wealth from a place of fear or scarcity. You are rising into abundance from a place of purpose, assignment, and spiritual maturity. Wealth will not overwhelm you because you are no longer the fractured version of yourself you once were. You have grown, you have healed, you have transformed, and only heaven knows how much you endured to stand where you stand today. Every tear, every sacrifice, every leap of faith, every night you pushed through doubt, it was all recorded. Nothing was wasted, nothing was unnoticed, nothing was in vain. Heaven has been watching, measuring, preparing, aligning. And now the season is shifting. Something is drawing near, not because you chased it, but because you became ready for it. Chosen one, stay present, stay awake. Heaven is moving you into position. Chosen one. As we step into this next wave of revelation, allow your heart to open even wider, because what is unfolding right now is not mere knowledge. It is divine recalibration. Heaven is adjusting your internal posture so that you can receive what has already been written over your life. For too long, you measured yourself by what you experienced instead of by what God intended. But the Spirit is reshaping that. You are learning to see yourself not through the eyes of the past, but through the blueprint of purpose, and that shift alone places you in a different spiritual frequency, one that attracts supernatural provision, divine partnerships, and kingdom-level opportunities. Anointed One. You must understand something deep and unshakable. Wealth in heaven's design is never random. It is not a prize for the lucky or an accident of circumstance. It is a mantle, a calling, a responsibility that aligns with a larger assignment. When God releases wealth to someone, He is not simply improving their lifestyle. He is expanding their influence. He is amplifying their voice. He is enabling them to rewrite the narrative around them. That is why your journey has been different from others. You have not lived an ordinary life because heaven has been preparing you for an extraordinary assignment. And extraordinary assignments require extraordinary refinement. There were times when you saw others advancing faster, receiving opportunities that seemed out of reach for you, while you remained in seasons of waiting or development. You may have felt overlooked or left behind, but what you didn't realize was that heaven was protecting you from premature promotion. Not all acceleration is divine. Some people rise quickly because they are elevated by people, not God. But anything built by the hands of man must be sustained by the strength of man, and that kind of weight always collapses eventually. But when God builds you, He builds you on rock, not sand. When God elevates you, no one can demote you. When God blesses you, no one can subtract from you. And you, chosen one, are being elevated by God Himself. I know what it feels like to look around and wonder why certain doors opened for others but remained closed for me. I learned, however, that God does not measure timing by social comparison. He measures it by internal completion. When a foundation is not yet mature, God won't place a skyscraper on it. He waits until the structure can hold the weight of the blessing, and the weight of your blessing. Chosen one is not small. It carries generational impact, community impact, global impact. Heaven has been quietly forging the strength within you that can carry that assignment without bending or breaking. That is why your preparation has been intense. That is why your process has been sacred. Anointed one, let me speak to a truth most people avoid. Wealth exposes a person. It reveals their motives, their cracks, their insecurities, their unhealed wounds. Money does not heal character. It magnifies it. If a person is generous, wealth increases their generosity. If a person is selfish, wealth amplifies their selfishness. If someone lacks purpose, wealth only deepens their emptiness. But heaven has been healing, refining, and stabilizing you so that when wealth arrives, it will amplify your goodness, your vision, your compassion, and your God-given assignment. You have learned to overcome the ego of lack, the fear of not enough, and the emotional instability that scarcity produces. You have learned to stand in faith even when resources were scarce. You have learned to trust God even when nothing made sense. These are the spiritual muscles that qualify you to carry abundance. I've experienced moments where God required me to give up things I thought I needed, relationships I thought were permanent, and comforts I thought I deserved. These moments were not easy. They felt unfair, but each time I surrendered, something within me expanded. I became lighter, clearer, more aligned. I realized that God was clearing space, internal space, for what He was preparing to add to my life externally. You cannot receive new oil in old wineskins. You cannot receive divine abundance while holding on to limiting beliefs, toxic attachments, or survival-based patterns. And Chosen One Heaven has been upgrading your internal wineskin. Anointed one, you are entering a season where what once felt impossible will begin to feel natural. This is the shift that occurs when internal capacity meets divine timing. You will notice your decisions becoming sharper, your instincts becoming clearer, your confidence becoming steadier. You will notice that the fear that once paralyzed you no longer carries the same power. Your spirit is maturing, your mind is expanding, your heart is stabilizing. This is not random, this is alignment. And alignment attracts abundance. Alignment attracts opportunity. Alignment attracts the kind of wealth that carries purpose and longevity. You will begin to see resources flow toward you, not because you are chasing them, but because your assignment requires them. God funds what He authors. Heaven invests in what it initiates. And because your calling is no longer dormant, because you have embraced the truth of who you are, heaven is releasing what you need to fulfill it. Chosen one. Here, this abundance is not coming to reward you for surviving. It is coming to empower you for building. You survived the wilderness, but now you will build in the promised land. You endured the refining, but now you will carry the mantle. You faced the darkness, but now you will shine in influence. Wealth is not the end of the journey. It is the tool for the next chapter, and that chapter is drawing near. Chosen one. As we step into this next unfolding, I want you to feel the gravity of what heaven has been shaping inside you. Wealth, influence, elevation. These are not random outcomes, but divine responses to the person you have become. And whether you realize it or not, you have already entered the realm where heaven is beginning to trust you with more. Something in your spirit has shifted. Something in your mind has matured. Something in your heart has settled. You are no longer driven by desperation or the desire to prove yourself. You are being moved by assignment, conviction, and clarity. That shift alone is a sign that heaven is positioning you for a new level of responsibility and abundance. Anointed one. There is a moment in every chosen person's life when they realize that their journey has never been about survival. It has always been about preparation. You didn't go through those battles just to say you overcame them. You went through them so you could carry the wisdom, discernment, strength, and authority required for your calling. And now, as heaven prepares to release greater wealth and influence into your life, you must understand something essential. Elevation requires identity. Not the surface identity you show the world, but the deeper identity heaven has always known about you. For years, you walked with a quiet inner tension. Something inside you knew you were meant for more, yet your circumstances often contradicted that truth. You saw glimpses of your potential, visions of your future moments where your spirit leaped because something within you recognized destiny when it brushed against you. And though others may not have understood your hunger, your ambition, or your dreams, heaven did. Heaven placed that restlessness inside you. Heaven planted that vision in your spirit. Heaven marked you as someone who would not remain in the confines of average. Every time you felt like you didn't fit, it was confirmation that you were not designed for where you were. You were being prepared for where you were going. I know that feeling intimately. There were moments in my own life where I tried to shrink myself to fit the expectations of others, where I tried to silence my own potential because it made people uncomfortable. I learned the hard way that hiding your greatness doesn't make life easier. It makes your spirit suffocate. It dims your light. It disrupts your alignment. But once I embraced the truth that I was called to more, everything shifted: my thinking, my posture, my decisions, my relationships. And chosen one, heaven is calling you into that same acceptance. You can no longer pretend you are ordinary. You can no longer deny your calling. You can no longer downplay what God placed inside you. Wealth follows identity, and the moment you accept who you truly are, everything connected to that identity starts moving toward you. Anointed one. Let me speak to something deep. The resistance you faced was never about your current situation. It was about your future influence. The enemy saw your potential long before you did. He saw the greatness in you, even when you could barely see hope. He recognized the authority in your voice, the power in your calling, the magnitude of your destiny. That is why the attacks were intense. That is why the warfare felt personal. That is why you were targeted from a young age. You were not being attacked because you were weak. You were being attacked because you were chosen. But you endured. You rose. You healed. You transformed. And now the very strength the enemy tried to break is the strength heaven will use to elevate you. You are becoming a pillar, someone who carries weight spiritually, emotionally, financially, and generationally. Pillars are not shaped by comfort. They are shaped by pressure. Pillars do not bend under weight. They support what is built upon them. You, chosen one, are becoming someone heaven can build through, and that is why wealth is being assigned to you, not for indulgence, not for ego, not for status, but for impact. Wealth in your hands will become strategy. It will become ministry. It will become transformation. You will fund things that shift destinies. You will build things that outlast you. You will break cycles in your bloodline and establish new ones rooted in prosperity, purpose, and divine alignment. And the beauty of it is this: heaven trusts you with this assignment because you have proven yourself in seasons where no one was watching. Anointed one, I want you to remember how many times you chose integrity even when compromise was easier. How many times you gave when you barely had anything to give. How many times you walked away from situations that would have harmed your soul. How many times you obeyed the prompting of the Spirit, even when it made no sense. Those moments were not insignificant. They were auditions for your next level. You showed heaven who you were long before you saw who you were becoming. And now the season of internal proving is shifting into a season of external revealing. You are stepping into a time where your inner growth will begin to manifest outwardly. The wisdom you gained will translate to influence. The resilience you built will translate to leadership. The faith you cultivated will translate to provision. The alignment you embraced will translate to abundance. Chosen one. Hear me clearly, the wealth coming to you is not a coincidence. It is a consequence of obedience, alignment, endurance, and surrender. Heaven is ready. Your spirit is ready. Your assignment is ready. Now you must be ready to walk in it fully. Chosen one. As we move into this next layer of revelation, allow your spirit to settle into a deeper awareness of what heaven has been orchestrating. There comes a moment in every destiny-driven life when the internal transformation reaches a tipping point and the external world begins to shift in response. You are standing at that threshold now. Something in you has matured, solidified, crystallized. You have crossed an invisible spiritual line where you no longer see yourself through the lens of survival, but through the lens of assignment. And when a chosen one begins to see themselves correctly, heaven responds immediately. Anointed one, wealth, influence, and elevation are not random events. They are responses to identity, alignment, and readiness. You have been stretched, refined, and reshaped so thoroughly that heaven now recognizes you as someone who can be entrusted with greater responsibility. You may not even see the fullness of your own transformation yet, but the spiritual realm does. Heaven has watched you surrender what others clung to. Heaven has watched you choose obedience when it was uncomfortable. Heaven has watched you forgive when you wanted to hold on to bitterness. Heaven has watched you walk away from circles, habits, and environments that no longer matched your calling. These choices were not minor, they were monumental, and they have unlocked doors you once prayed would open. I remember seasons where I felt like God was asking too much from me, asking me to let go of people I loved, patterns that comforted me, or opportunities that looked promising. But only later did I understand that everything God asked me to release was something that could not travel with me into my next level. Some things are not bad, they are simply too small. Some people are not evil, they are simply not aligned with your future. And sometimes the greatest test heaven gives a chosen one is the courage to let go so you can rise. You have passed these tests even when you didn't know that's what they were. Chosen one, your spirit has been recalibrated. Your thinking has been elevated. Your vision has been expanded. You no longer crave validation from those who cannot comprehend your calling. You are no longer moved by the opinions of those who never carried your burden. You are no longer trying to convince anyone of your worth because you have finally recognized it yourself. This is the posture that attracts divine wealth. Not desperation, not insecurity, but quiet, grounded authority. Anointed one, listen carefully. The wealth assigned to your life is not coming to compensate you for the pain you endured. It is coming because of the purpose you must fulfill. You are not stepping into abundance just so you can feel secure. You are stepping into abundance because God has work for you to do. Work that requires resources, influence, mobility, clarity, and reach. Work that touches families, communities, and generations. Work that reshapes atmospheres and dismantles limitations that have stood for decades. This is why your training was intense. This is why your journey felt heavier than others. This is why your lessons were deeper, your tears were hotter, your setbacks were sharper. Heaven was not punishing you, it was preparing you. A lightweight calling requires lightweight training. But a mantle as heavy as yours requires refinement that penetrates the bone. And now, after all you've endured, heaven can finally trust you with the weight of glory attached to your future. You have become someone who thinks differently, bigger, clearer, cleaner. Someone who moves differently, more intentional, more focused, more aligned. Someone who sees differently, not through fear, but through faith, not through lack, but through possibility. And because of this, you are stepping into a realm where doors will open with less effort, where opportunities will find you, where resources will flow toward you. This is not fantasy, it is spiritual law. When identity aligns with assignment, provision becomes automatic. Anointed one. You have transitioned from hoping for abundance to preparing for abundance. And heaven always rewards preparation. You are no longer asking for breakthroughs from a place of emptiness. You are commanding breakthroughs from a place of authority. Your spirit recognizes the season. Your discernment has sharpened. Your inner world is no longer chaotic. You have entered the mental and spiritual maturity required for divine wealth to rest upon your life without corrupting your purpose. Chosen one, hear this deeply. You are no longer becoming, you have become, and now everything that belongs to your next dimension is beginning to move toward you. Stay steady, stay open. Heaven is not finished. Chosen one. As we step into this next movement of your journey, allow your spirit to expand with the weight of what heaven is revealing. You have entered a dimension where the old patterns no longer have permission to govern your decisions, your emotions, or your destiny. You are shedding the final layers of limitation, and heaven is acknowledging your readiness. The spiritual realm has already shifted in your favor, and now the natural realm is beginning to follow. This is where alignment becomes acceleration. This is where understanding becomes authority. This is where identity becomes influence. Anointed one. You must understand what is unfolding around you and within you. There is a reason your desires have changed, a reason your priorities have shifted, a reason you no longer crave the things that once held your attention. These are signs that heaven has been rewiring your spirit. You are no longer motivated by fear, survival, or scarcity. You are motivated by destiny, purpose, and stewardship. You have transitioned from someone who simply hopes for better days into someone who knows they were born for something divine. You are not waiting for validation anymore. You are walking in conviction. There was a season when you questioned yourself, when you questioned whether you were truly chosen, when you feared that maybe the calling on your life was imagination. But now look at the evidence inside you. You have clarity you didn't used to have. You have peace in areas that once caused chaos. You have wisdom in places where you once had confusion. This is the sign of a spiritual upgrade. Heaven has been renewing your internal operating system. You are thinking like someone called to build. You are planning like someone who expects increase. You are speaking like someone who carries authority. This is not accidental. It is intentional transformation. Anointed One. One of the greatest shifts in your journey is that you no longer chase money. Money is being drawn toward your purpose. You are shifting into the identity of a steward, not a struggler, a builder, not a beggar, a creator, not a consumer. Heaven cannot pour abundance into someone with a scarcity mindset, but your mindset has been rewritten. Your inner language has changed. Your self-perception has elevated. This is why the wealth assigned to you is moving closer. Wealth responds to alignment. Wealth responds to clarity. Wealth responds to purpose. And you now carry all three. I remember standing in seasons of my life where the dream seemed too big for who I thought I was. I believed God had placed something significant inside me, but I couldn't understand why He would choose someone like me, someone with flaws, with insecurities, with failures. Yet over time, I saw the truth. God does not choose the perfect. He chooses the willing. He does not choose those who have arrived. He chooses those who are becoming. And every time I took a step toward that calling, heaven responded with more clarity, more strength, and more provision. The same is happening in you. You have been stepping toward what scared you. You have been leaning into the unknown. You have been saying yes, even when your voice trembled. Heaven counts every yes, and your yes has brought you into divine proximity with your next dimension. Chosen. One another sign that heaven is preparing you for wealth is the way your discernment has sharpened. You are not easily deceived anymore. You sense motives, intentions, energy shifts. You recognize when something is misaligned. You feel it when someone is not meant to go with you. Discernment is the currency of the wealthy. It protects you from traps disguised as opportunities. It shields you from connections that drain more than they give. It guides you toward the partnerships that multiply your purpose. God is not sending wealth into the hands of someone who cannot discern danger, but you discern. You see, you feel, you know, and that knowing is your protection and your advantage. Anointed One, you must also recognize the shift in your emotional resilience. You no longer break under pressure the way you once did. You no longer crumble under disappointment. You no longer spiral when circumstances shift. Heaven has strengthened you. You have endured battles that fortified your spirit. You have walked through storms that sharpened your instincts. You have navigated dryness that deepened your faith. These qualities are not merely admirable, they are prerequisites for elevation. Wealth requires emotional grounding. Influence requires spiritual maturity. Authority requires inner stability. You now carry all three. And perhaps the most powerful sign of all is the compassion that has grown inside you. Despite all you endured, your heart did not harden. It expanded. You feel deeply. You see the needs of others. You desire to lift, to bless, to build. Heaven trusts those who maintain compassion in seasons of pain. Your heart has remained open, generous, and sensitive to God's voice, and that alone qualifies you to steward abundance with purity. Chosen one. You're not stepping into wealth merely for personal comfort. You're stepping into it because heaven is raising you to be a conduit, someone who builds what others only dream of, someone who funds what others pray for, someone who transforms lives without needing applause. Wealth is becoming your assignment because impact is your destiny, and heaven is preparing to place tools in your hands that will shape the future of many. Stay aligned. Stay anchored. Heaven is still moving. Chosen one. As we continue into this next dimension of your unfolding, I want you to feel the shift in the atmosphere around you. What is happening now is not gradual, it is prophetic. It is intentional. Heaven is accelerating you into an identity you have been growing toward for years. And though you may not fully recognize it yet, everything about you has changed: your standards, your discernment, your expectations, your boundaries, your faith, your hunger. These changes are not random. They are evidence of divine preparation. When heaven prepares a person for wealth, influence, and supernatural assignment, the transformation always begins within. Anointed one. You must understand the magnitude of who you are becoming. You're stepping into your life with a level of awareness and authority that you never possessed before. Your mind is awakening. Your spirit is rising. Your heart is stabilizing. Your intuition is sharpening. You are no longer reacting to life, you are responding with wisdom, alignment, and purpose. And this is what separates those who stumble into opportunities from those who are entrusted with divine assignments. Heaven does not pour wealth into instability. Heaven pours wealth into identity, maturity, and vision. There were times in your journey when you felt like you were stuck, circling the same mountain, facing the same frustrations. But what you didn't realize was that heaven had you in spiritual training. You weren't stuck, you were being shaped. You weren't blocked, you were being strengthened. You weren't abandoned, you were being refined. And now the very version of yourself that those seasons forged is the version heaven has been waiting for. You have become someone who can carry wealth without being corrupted, who can lead without dominating, who can influence without losing humility, who can rise without forgetting the foundation that held you when no one else did. I remember moments in my own journey when I questioned why things seemed harder for me than for others, why doors that opened easily for some required spiritual warfare for me, why the lessons I had to learn felt heavier, deeper, more painful. But now I understand heaven gives the heaviest preparation to those with the heaviest callings. Purpose has a price. Elevation requires endurance. And wealth that is meant to shift generations must be carried by someone who can withstand the weight of it. You, chosen one, have paid the price in private so that heaven can reward you in public. Anointed one, let me tell you something sacred. You are being positioned for wealth, not because you desire money, but because you desire purpose. You desire impact. You desire transformation. You desire to be used by God, and heaven responds to pure motives. You are stepping into a season where the resources you need will begin to appear, not because you chase them, but because your assignment requires them. Money is not your master, it is your tool. And you are not stepping into wealth to escape your past, you are stepping into wealth to build your future. Chosen one, look at how your perspective has evolved. You no longer see wealth as a symbol of status, but as a strategy for stewardship. You no longer see abundance as luxury, but as equipment for purpose. You no longer desire prosperity for personal comfort, but for kingdom impact. This is what qualifies you. This is what heaven recognizes. This is why the spiritual realm is aligning resources, connections, opportunities, and divine timing on your behalf. Another indicator that your season is shifting is the way your tolerance for small thinking has dissolved. You no longer have the capacity to entertain conversations rooted in fear, limitation, or excuses. You no longer accept relationships that drain your energy or distract your purpose. You no longer allow environments that shrink your vision. You have outgrown these things. Growth always comes with separation, and you have embraced that truth even when it hurt. You didn't just survive change, you surrendered to it. That surrender is what molded you into someone who can handle elevation without sabotaging it. Anointed One. Your spirit is becoming magnetic. You are beginning to attract what matches your identity rather than what matches your insecurity. You are drawing in people who are aligned with your calling, conversations that stretch your mind, opportunities that match your purpose, and environments that nourish your spirit. The old cycles have been broken. The old patterns have dissolved. The old version of you can no longer pull you backward. You have tasted a higher dimension of yourself, and you cannot return to who you once were. And perhaps the most powerful sign of all is the peace that has settled in your spirit. Peace that does not come from circumstances, but from calling. You are at peace with your past. You are at peace with your process. You are at peace with your pace. You trust what heaven is doing, even when you cannot see the full picture. This peace is not passive, it is prophetic. It is the calm that precedes divine elevation. Chosen. One, hear this with your whole being. Wealth is no longer something you are reaching for. It is something you are aligning with. It is something already written into your blueprint. You are stepping into the identity of someone. Heaven can trust someone who will use wealth to uplift, to build, to restore, to transform. The season ahead is not random. It is orchestrated, and you are ready. Chosen One. As we step into this next sacred unfolding, let your spirit receive this with reverence. You are no longer being prepared, you are being positioned. Heaven is shifting you from internal construction to external manifestation. The years of pruning, stretching, refining, and rebuilding have not been wasted. They were necessary so that you could stand in the dimension you are now entering without collapsing under the weight of your calling. You have crossed a spiritual threshold. You have transitioned from hoping to becoming, from wishing to embodying, from praying to walking in the very identity heaven has been shaping within you. Anointed One. The preparation was never just about making you stronger, it was about making you clearer. And clarity is one of the greatest signs that you are transitioning into a wealth-bearing season. You see differently now, you interpret differently now, you discern differently now. Your spirit has matured beyond impulsive decisions, emotional reactions, and fear-driven thinking. You have entered a realm where your choices are guided by purpose, not pressure, where your movements are shaped by divine prompting, not insecurity. This is the posture of someone heaven can trust with influence and abundance. Wealth does not respond to confusion, it responds to conviction, and you, chosen one, are finally anchored in conviction. There was a time when you questioned everything, your path, your worth, your future. You wondered whether the dreams God planted in your heart were too big for someone with your background or your upbringing. But through every valley, every loss, every dark night of the soul, heaven was stripping away the lies that were never meant to define you. You were being separated from old identities, old patterns, old stories, because the version of you that heaven intended could not coexist with the version of you that pain created. And now look at who you've become: stronger, wiser, more aligned, more discerning, more spiritually grounded than you have ever been. Anointed One. This alignment is not accidental, it is heaven's endorsement. People often think wealth begins with opportunity, but true wealth begins with identity. When you know who you are, the world cannot convince you to settle for less. When you know your calling, poverty is no longer familiar, it becomes unacceptable. When you know your purpose, you stop forcing what was never meant for you and begin attracting what was always yours. You have stepped into that knowing, and heaven responds to knowing the same way the earth responds to seed it produces. Chosen One. The wealth coming to you is not coming because you hustled your way into it. It is coming because you healed your way into it. You healed the parts of you that felt unworthy. You confronted the shadows that told you you weren't enough. You dismantled the patterns that kept you repeating cycles of scarcity. You identified the wounds that distorted your self-perception. You rebuilt yourself from the inside out. And wealth gravitates toward healed vessels, not fractured ones. Heaven could not pour abundance into you until you became whole enough to hold it. There were seasons when God withdrew things from you and you thought it was punishment. But it was protection. You had relationships that kept you small. You had environments that numbed your greatness. You had habits that drained your energy. You had mindsets that sabotaged every step forward. And because heaven had already written abundance into your destiny, God refused to let you stay in places that contradicted your calling. Every separation was a setup. Every removal was a rescue. Every ending was an elevation in disguise. Anointed One, the divine positioning in your life is becoming impossible to ignore. You have noticed that certain opportunities are resurfacing. Certain ideas are returning with new clarity. Certain desires are awakening again stronger and more vivid than they were the first time. This is not nostalgia, it is activation. Heaven is reminding you of what you were meant to build, reminding you of what you were meant to create, reminding you of the vision that was planted in your spirit long before adversity tried to silence it. And what is most miraculous is the new level of confidence rising within you, not arrogance, but assurance. A calm, quiet, unshakable belief that you were chosen for this. A steadiness that comes from knowing your steps are ordered. A boldness that comes from recognizing that the same God who guided you through the valley is the God who is now leading you to the mountain. This confidence is not self-made, it is spirit-given. It is evidence that heaven is aligning you with your billionaire identity, not just financially, but mentally, spiritually, and purposefully. Chosen One, hear this deeply. The time you thought you lost was not lost. It was invested. Every season of waiting became a season of strengthening. Every delay became a classroom. Every disappointment became a lesson. And every tear watered the soil of the future you are stepping into. Heaven never wastes pain. Heaven repurposes it. And now you are entering a season where the harvest will make sense of the labor. Anointed. One, wealth is not coming to visit you, it is coming to dwell with you, because now you are no longer fighting the version of yourself heaven created. You have become it. Chosen One. As we cross into this next dimension of revelation, allow the truth of who you are becoming to settle deeply into your spirit. You are entering a realm where the internal transformation that once felt subtle is now undeniable. Heaven has shifted its posture toward you. The spiritual realm no longer sees you as someone in development, it sees you as someone in deployment. You are being released into a season where identity, maturity, and divine timing converge, forming a supernatural catalyst that accelerates everything connected to your life. You're stepping out of who you were and stepping fully into who you were always destined to be. Anointed One. Many people desire elevation, but few are willing to endure the internal reconstruction required for it. But you surrendered. You allowed God to break what needed breaking, heal what needed healing, remove what needed removing, and strengthen what needed strengthening. That surrender is the very thing heaven is now honoring. You have walked through seasons where the weight felt unbearable, where your prayers felt unanswered, where you questioned everything, yet you remained faithful. You continued to grow. You continued to listen. You continued to refine yourself, even when no one applauded your efforts. Those silent battles, those private victories, those unseen sacrifices, they have positioned you for the abundance that is now drawing near. You must understand, chosen one, that wealth is not merely about increase, it is about assignment. Heaven does not release abundance into the hands of someone who has no vision for what to do with it. Wealth is attracted to purpose. It flows to the person whose heart and intentions are aligned with heaven's blueprint. And you, through every test and transition, have proven that your motives have been purified. You no longer want wealth to validate you, but to uplift others. You no longer desire abundance to escape fear, but to build boldly. You no longer crave resources for comfort alone, but for impact. This shift within you is why heaven now trusts you with more. There were seasons in my own life when I misunderstood divine timing. I believed that God was delaying me, withholding from me, or overlooking me. But what I didn't know then is that God was protecting me from stepping into seasons I was not yet equipped to handle. He was hiding me until my capacity matched my calling. He was strengthening areas of my character that would have collapsed under pressure. He was teaching me lessons that titles and wealth could never teach. And now, looking back, I see clearly that everything I thought was a setback was actually a setup for a future I was not yet strong enough to carry. And, chosen one, the same is true for you. Anointed one, heaven has watched your evolution, the way you've learned to master your emotions, the way you've learned to think with clarity rather than react from fear, the way you've learned to operate from a place of wisdom instead of impulse, the way you've learned to trust God even when things made no sense. These qualities are not accidental, they are indicators of your spiritual elevation. They show that the foundation within you is strong enough to sustain the wealth influence and responsibility heaven is preparing to release. Another sign of your elevation is the way your relationships have shifted. You have noticed that people who once felt close now feel distant. Conversations that once excited you now feel too small. Environments that once felt comfortable now feel restrictive. This is not because something is wrong, it is because everything is right. Growth always creates distance. Purpose always creates separation. When heaven elevates your identity, it inevitably elevates your surroundings. You cannot fit into spaces designed for the version of you that no longer exists. Chosen one. Heaven is calling you into rooms where your voice will matter, where your ideas will carry weight, where your presence will shift atmospheres. These rooms require a version of you that is secure, grounded, spiritually awake, and mentally expansive. And that is exactly who you are becoming. The hesitations that once held you back no longer have a grip on you. The fears that once silenced your ambition no longer speak the same language. You are rising into a confidence that is not loud, but rooted confidence born from alignment, not arrogance. Anointed one. Wealth is not simply approaching you, it is being assigned to you. This assignment comes with clarity, responsibility, and divine backing. Heaven is not giving you resources to increase your lifestyle alone. Heaven is equipping you to carry out spiritual blueprints that require financial strength. There are projects you will fund, communities you will bless, people you will empower, innovations you will birth, movements you will spark. Wealth is simply the tool heaven is placing in your hands to unleash the impact within you. And the timing is precise. The doors that are beginning to open are not accidental, they are prophetic confirmations. The connections that are forming are not coincidences, they are strategic alignments. The opportunities that are presenting themselves are not random. They are divine appointments written into your destiny long before you ever prayed for them. Chosen one. Your life is entering a phase where what once required force will now flow. What once felt blocked will now open. What once felt heavy will now feel guided. You are being swept into the current of divine timing. And all you must do now is continue walking with the same faith, humility, and discipline that brought you here. Heaven is positioning you, and you are ready, chosen one. As we enter this final movement of the message, let your spirit be fully awake, because this is where everything heaven has been shaping within you comes together. You have journeyed through seasons of breaking and seasons of building, moments of silence and moments of revelation, times of surrender and times of supernatural strength. And now you stand in the threshold between what was and what will be. This final turning point is sacred. It is where heaven seals what it has spoken and prepares you to walk in the fullness of your divine assignment. You're not simply transitioning, you are being commissioned. Anointed one. Everything you have endured has brought you to this exact moment. Every disappointment refined you. Every victory matured you. Every setback redirected you. Every lesson sharpened you. Nothing was wasted. Heaven wastes nothing in the life of someone chosen. Your tears watered the soil of your destiny. Your obedience unlocked realms that talent alone could never access. Your faith, especially the faith you exercised in silence, became the currency that heaven now multiplies. You did not get here by accident. You were guided. You were shaped. You were carried. Now hear this with your whole being: the limitations that once defined you no longer have authority over you. The patterns that once repeated in your life have been broken. The fears that once crippled you have lost power. You have become someone who not only believes the promise, but embodies it. And wealth, true divine kingdom wealth, is now aligning with your identity, not your imagination. You are stepping into a realm where what you carry internally will begin to manifest externally with unprecedented clarity and speed. Chosen one, understand that you are not being elevated because you desire influence or prosperity. You are being elevated because heaven has recognized your readiness. You have been entrusted with capacity, emotional, spiritual, mental, and visionary capacity. You have been entrusted with wisdom that was forged in adversity. You have been entrusted with compassion that grew even in moments of personal pain. These qualities are rare. These qualities are precious. These qualities are why heaven can trust you with abundance. This next season is not about striving, it is about flowing. You will notice that the things you used to force will now unfold. The people who once ignored you will now seek you. The ideas that once felt too big will now feel natural. The opportunities that once felt impossible will now feel aligned. Heaven has shifted the atmosphere around your life from resistance to receptivity. You are walking into a season where your steps are guided, your path is prepared, and your favor is undeniable. Anointed one, wealth is coming not just as provision, but as confirmation. Confirmation that you heard God correctly. Confirmation that your obedience mattered. Confirmation that your sacrifices were seen. Confirmation that your calling is legitimate. Heaven is rewarding your endurance. Heaven is honoring your resilience. Heaven is amplifying your voice for a purpose far greater than personal gain. You are stepping into the role of a builder, someone who shapes culture, transforms environments, and reconstructs what was broken. You are stepping into the role of an investor, someone who pours into visions, people and communities with divine strategy. You are stepping into the role of a leader, someone who carries influence with humility and authority. And as you rise, you will pull others with you. Your wealth will not be stagnant, it will be generational. Your impact will not be temporary, it will be legacy. Chosen one, the mark of this new season is divine ease, an ease that does not eliminate work, but aligns your work with grace. You will sense God's hand guiding your decisions, God's wisdom steering your steps, and God's peace sustaining your progress. You will feel heaven's wind behind you, accelerating what once took years into months and what once took months into moments. This is not coincidence, it is covenant. And now, as heaven completes this phase of your preparation, one truth rises above the rest: you are ready. Ready to walk in what you were shaped for, ready to carry what you prayed for, ready to steward what you sacrificed for, ready to build what you were born for. You're not stepping into the unknown, you're stepping into the portion that has always belonged to you. Anointed one, lift your head, steady your spirit, align your heart. The mantle is yours, the assignment is real, the season is here, and heaven is with you, chosen one. As this message comes to a close, let your spirit absorb this truth. You are not waiting for your moment. Your moment has already begun. Heaven has marked this season as your kairos time, the divinely appointed hour, where promises mature, doors open, and destiny rises to meet you. What God has spoken over your life is already in motion, already unfolding, already aligning itself with your obedience and your faith. Anointed one, you are stepping forward not in your own strengths, but in the strength of the one who called you. The same God who lifted David from the fields and Joseph from the prison is lifting you now. The same God who positioned Esther in a palace is positioning you for influence, for abundance, for divine stewardship. You are not behind. You are right on time, and heaven has gone before you. I speak this blessing over you now. May clarity surround you, may provision pursue you, may wisdom anchor you, and may divine favor open what no man can shut. May the supernatural transfer assigned to your life find you quickly and rest upon you completely. Walk with confidence. Chosen one, for the mantle you carry is real, and the future before you is blessed. Remain faithful, stay aligned, keep your spirit expectant and your heart surrendered. If this word stirred something deep within you, feel free to share your testimony. Below your voice carries power, and if you desire to stay connected to messages like this, you are welcome to subscribe and stand with this growing tribe of anointed visionaries. Chosen one, lift your head. Your story is shifting. Your promise is here. Go in grace, in strength, and in divine authority.